Next on Local 3 News at 11, the 3 victims' names in the Macaulay Avenue shooting have been released. Plus, what's the feeling downtown after 2 weekends of violence? Local 3 News at 11 starts now.
This is Local 3 News at 11.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Greg Glover. Cindy's off tonight. We begin with breaking news. The old Highland Park Baptist Church caught fire this evening. Let's have a live look now at crews tending to that blaze that has ripped through both the auditorium and gymnasium. The location is 1906 Bailey Avenue in Chattanooga. It's just about 3 blocks from the scene of Sunday morning shooting on Macaulay Avenue. Another tough night for the neighborhood and surrounding area. The good news here, it's believed the buildings were vacant. Heavy machinery has been brought to the scene to tear down parts of that building because the fire is burning through a number of floors and the structure is unstable. Now they're advising people in the area to go back into their homes and close their doors. The concern is asbestos could be getting into the air there at the scene. Today, local teachers protested Governor Bill Lee as he was in town to campaign for county mayor candidate Weston Wamp. Educators say they're disappointed the governor failed to defend them after insulting comments were made by the president of Hillsdale College at a private reception in Franklin, Tennessee last month. The remarks were secretly recorded. Local 3 reporter Riley Nagel was at the campaign stop looking to ask Governor Lee about his stance on Tennessee's public educators. Riley, could you get a comment?
Greg, the governor declined to answer our questions.
The Grundy County Sheriff's Office is asking for your help after a Tennessee Highway Patrol officer was violently attacked by a man riding an ATV. This was last night when a Tennessee trooper attempted to stop that driver just after 11:30 at the intersection of Flat Branch Road and Hobbs Hill Road in Tracy City. Sheriff Clint Schrum says the driver sped away, eventually crashing into a ditch. When the trooper approached, he got violent. And with any luck, you are ending your Friday night either in the warmth and comfort of your bed or at least in your living room. So we wanted to start the show outside tonight to give you a feel of what it's like as the winter storm is moving in. We've been following it all day. I'll just step out of the way and allow Taylor to show you the look here in North Chattanooga. It was honestly around 60 degrees out here until just about 10 or 10:30, and that's when the winds and drizzle came. I brought an umbrella. We don't really need it right now, but we can tell that things are starting to pick up. Chief Meteorologist David Carnes is in the Storm Alert Center. We've been following this all night. David, we watched on social media as the temperatures dropped and the snow began falling in Collierville over in West Tennessee, then in Hendersonville in Middle Tennessee. I think it's on our doorstep at this point. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Greg Glover.
And I'm Cindy Sexton. This is definitely not the summer to have your AC break down. A local family has been forced to bear this heat in their home for more than a month.
Hickson resident Julie Amos contacted Local 3 for help, saying her family spent $1,500 to have their AC unit repaired, but they say the job was never done. Our Riley Nagel looked into it. He joins us now in the studio with the story. Riley. Time to talk weather, and David, you taught us last night to lower our expectations. So how long until we get not necessarily a great day, but what did you say, a less than uncomfortable day? Slightly less than uncomfortable?
Slightly less uncomfortable, less hot, I think.
Greg Glover talks about the new District 11. Greg?
Well, those 2 new districts are the result of population growth and redistricting. The 11th is in southwestern part of Hamilton County, bordering Marion County and the state line. The 2 Democrats running are native Chattanoogans and longtime members of the community. Montrell Besley is a small business owner, community advocate, and director of community engagement at Chattanooga Preparatory School. Sean Nix is a social studies teacher. He's worked with the local NAACP and local and state campaigns. We talked with both of them as they were making their final pushes for votes today. We asked what they'd say to motivate anyone who hasn't already been to the polls.
Today is the day.
Start talking to each other.
The winner tonight will face former District 6 Commissioner Joe Graham in the general election. And one more note, a 3rd Democrat, Molly Blankenship, withdrew from the race last month, but her name still appears on that District 11 ballot. Cindy?
Greg, thank you.
A pastor in Nashville expects more of her members will be armed on Sunday. This in the wake of mass shootings over the weekend. A gunman killed 10 people and injured 3 others at a grocery store in Buffalo, New York on Saturday. Then on Sunday, a gunman killed 5 people and injured 5 others at a church in Southern California.
Could be some sassy sisters sitting there holding their babies and making sure they got enough bullets.
The Reverend Sutton is pastor at Family Affairs Ministries in Nashville, and she says violence at churches in recent years has had an impact on her congregation. Before the shooter in Buffalo, New York began firing his shots at innocent bystanders, he turned on a camera and streamed the horrifying minutes live so other people could watch. He used a live streaming platform called Twitch. You may have heard that name, but you might not know much about it. Our consumer technology reporter Jamie Tucker has a peek at this social network that is used by millions of people every day. The inspector recommended that managers and staff get certified by an American National Standards Institute. Time to talk weather. No failing grades on, you know, that's even cheesy coming out of my mouth. Sometimes there's no gentle way to make that transition.
We got it.
I'll give you a B minus.
Thanks, David. I appreciate it.
Hey, take a look.
Sadly, you just missed my encounter with a very large blue tick hound here, but safe to say if Pantone 151 is not your favorite color, that would be Tennessee orange. Chattanooga Whiskey Room on Riverfront's probably not the place for you tonight, but it is the place for, I stopped counting at about 250 people. The Big Orange faithful showed up tonight to greet the bus as the caravan rolled into town. On board Lady Vols coach Kelly Harper and, of course, the football Vols coach Josh Heupel. They've been signing autographs. Josh Heupel is just about my 11 o'clock finishing up a radio interview. Kelly Harper is probably wandering around about to go on stage. It's a word that's been used over and over during the COVID pandemic, grim, but the CDC is going with it again, forecasting a grim future for COVID-19 case numbers in America. They say deaths and hospitalizations will increase in the next few weeks. Cole Higgins has their story.
Go ahead, hit him with the tidbit you hit me with.
For Lady Vols fans, keep in mind, John Ward, the great John Ward, the voice of the Vols, his last year, the football team won the national championship. He announced his retirement. They made it come home. Mickey Dearstone is the voice of the Lady Vols.
Yep.
This is his last year. He's going into retirement. Keep those fingers crossed if you like the orange and baby blue.
You heard it here first, and you're not getting that anywhere else.
There you go. I do what I can. Mr. President, you just mentioned your big crowd you left in Georgia. To what do you attribute the numbers? We've got a record here in Tennessee as well.
And they had a record in Georgia. We're having records all over. It's just really hot.
In continuing coverage, we learned this afternoon Hamilton County Sheriff Jim Hammond had tested positive for COVID-19. Tonight we're hearing from the sheriff himself. He says he believes he contracted the virus from one of his staff members. His chief of staff, Gino Bennett, is in the ICU with COVID-19 and other medical issues. Sheriff Hammond spoke with the press this evening via Zoom. Our Meredith Aldis was on that call, and she brings us the latest. Meredith? Some terrifying moments inside Hamilton Place Mall tonight. Shots were fired. All customers were evacuated from the building and employees were locked down. A number of eyewitnesses sent us video of the mayhem that ensued. Thank you for joining us at 11. I'm Greg Glover. Our Travis Cummings has been there at the scene gathering information since first responders arrived. That was around 6 o'clock. Another big story tonight, our Meredith Aldis was at the Hamilton County School Board meeting, the first after yesterday's announcement having to do with masks and face coverings. Let's start, though, with what happened at Hamilton Place. Travis, what have you learned? It certainly was a different debate experience from the first. It seemed to be more substance involved, more conversation, a different tone, even a couple of compliments lobbed the direction of the moderator this evening. We'll see if any of this motivates Republican voters to get out to the polls. That was the point of all of this pomp and circumstance tonight. Republicans fear that the people who were dissatisfied with the results of the presidential election simply won't go to the polls. Just a few hours now, we should know the results of this runoff election. From Dalton, and a visit from President Trump. From Knoxville, from Nashville, the Music City. Live in Dade County, just a stone's throw from the center of Trenton. In Detroit, from New York, from Wolfsburg, Germany. Live in Chattanooga, Greg Glover, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.